So I am just an idiotic, stupid dog, but the state excuse me, the state of humankind is exemplified in the not the mode, but the essence of frustration. Mankind is either frustrated, this frustration is verging on violence. He feels like he's been cheated by some unknown forces. This is because I'm a stupid dog, you understand, so I don't have these problems, but mankind, they always want to blame somebody else for their problems. So they're always verging on frustration. They're always in a state of frustration, verging on violent actions because they can never accept responsibility. Mankind, human beings, the man I live with, my master, he can never accept responsibility for himself, okay? And the other thing is, so you got frustration and then you got suicidal thoughts. Dogs don't ever think about suicide. Dogs only live to be 16 years. You're like, I'm going to die soon enough anyways. If I was going to have suicide, I what? I walk in front of a car. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's why dogs cross the highway. They're like, I can't take it anymore. I got to cross the highway. But mankind, I'm just a stupid dog, you understand? And I have a very limited capacity of intelligence. Just because I can speak doesn't mean I'm any more smarter than your average human baby. I'm just about as smart as the average human baby, so whatever. But mankind is perpetually in a state of frustration, versioning on violent, actions, violent outcomes, violence, this, that, the other thing. Revenge. Revenge is one of mankind's most primordial, whatever you say, factors of his existence. Revenge. Getting even. Screwing somebody over who you perceive screwed you. The problem is, screwing over somebody who you perceive screwed you it's not bad, it's not religious. When the Jehovah's Witnesses come knocking, they're not going to say that. They're not going to say, hey, we want to get a quarter for this pamphlet, and this pamphlet explains how you can get even with your neighbors. They're not saying that, okay? But the bottom line is that's one of the driving forces of mankind is revenge. Revenge is what it's all about. Even though, the revenge is based on, ill-conceived perceptions of reality, okay? Mankind, they want to get revenge, but they should only revenge themselves because they're the ones who are responsible. They always want to put it off. They always want to say somebody else is responsible. They always want to blame the Mexicans. They always want to blame this, that, the other thing. But the reality is they should just blame themselves. Deep down, they know this. That's why, even though mankind, especially white people in a white world, they're smoking cigarettes, they're wasting their time, they're drinking, and the worst ones are doing methamphetamine and Oxycontin. Oxycontin, whoever knew that Oxycontin was the easy one. Oxycontin was the good one. Fentanyl came along and made Oxycontin look like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But mankind, they're plummeting. They're racing off towards the destruction, and all they want to do is get revenge on a incorrectly perceived opponent, or they're trying to do the blame game. They're trying to blame somebody else when it's themselves deep down, because there is a God. Deep down, there is a God. So deep down, they know it's themselves. That's why they smoke cigarettes. They're trying to kill themselves. They're always trying to blame somebody else. They're trying to blame the Mexicans. They're trying to blame this, that, the other ones. But deep down, they know it's themselves. They didn't measure up themselves. They couldn't do it themselves. They could if they just did it. They just dedicate themselves. They could do it. But instead, they're playing this blame game, and they can't focus. They can't get it done. So in other words, then they start smoking cigarettes. They start, jumping off of bridges with their parachutes. Hopefully the parachute doesn't open in time. That's the whole thing. When you see these guys jump off a train trestle, they're saying, hopefully this parachute doesn't open in time. But basically, mankind's just waging a war against themselves. That's why you have Oxycontin, and Oxycontin graduates to fentanyl, and you just have them dying in droves because they're trying to punish themselves, because unbeknownst to them, is subconsciously they're blaming themselves where the blame really lies. But instead of blaming themselves overtly, outwardly, they're blaming Mexicans, they're blaming this, they're blaming some phantom thing. That's why conspiracy theory is so big. But underlying it all is the one good solution that you could do if you want to do it. It's suicide. Let yourself check out. Don't bother playing the game no more. Just whatever you say, buy yourself a one-way ticket to whatever happenstanceville or wherever it is. So mankind is either frustrated or he's suicidal. I'm an idiotic, stupid dog. This is not a treatise. This is not an eye-opening thing. I mean, this could be a dog minute, maybe. Maybe it could be a dog minute. Mankind is either frustrated and subconsciously punishing himself and outwardly blaming other people who really aren't responsible for his own situation, or they're suicidal. And let me say this about the suicide thing. Nobody should do the suicide thing. I'm an idiotic, stupid dog. Dogs do not have an inkling of frustration or an inkling of suicide. Our lifespans are so short, they don't even factor in. Okay? No dog is saying, I'm going to kill myself. Every dog that ever walked in front of a garbage truck or a bus, I doubt they were trying to kill themselves. Maybe they were. I think it's just they're so stupid they didn't realize. They thought they were enchanted. They thought they had a bubble, a protective bubble put over top of them. They didn't have to worry about what everybody else has to worry about. And they sauntered and they wandered. It was their ignorance that killed them, not their suicidal tendencies. Dogs, they're not interested in suicide. Dogs are not interested in suicide. All right? But we can see, and if you have a talking dog, he could share the fact that mankind is driven by his internal forces, which dictate he must punish himself because he's so frustrated and he wants to blame other people, but he can't overtly in the outside world and the up top world understand it's his own self that's responsible, his own self that's responsible for himself. And then the other side of the coin is suicidal tendencies, which are, whatever you say, it doesn't make any sense. I'm a stupid dog. My lifespan is so short, I never thought about killing myself. I'm like, listen, if I ever thought about killing myself, don't worry. Death is coming. Death is very shortly coming, all right? Mankind lives to be 80 years. Maybe mankind should go out to the Joshua trees and the other things, and the cypresses of Lebanon, and see these trees live for 1,000 years. Maybe you should try to live for 1,000 years. Maybe that would be better for you. Maybe your outcome would be more secure. Maybe you would do a little bit better job if you thought for yourself that, the object is to hang on as long as you can, because even if you hang on as long as you can, it passes in the blink of an eye. I'm just a stupid dog, and everything happens in the span of a butterfly's wing flap. Don't worry about it. But, in other words, this has been a dog minute. And if you were out there and you heard this, I think, chances are there's not going to be many hear it. I mean, it's infinitesimally small amount of people hear this, and then an infinitesimally small amount of those people that understand what I was trying to say. So the subset of the subset of the subset is, who I'm saying, hello, I'm glad to make your acquaintance. I'm the dog.